Good afternoon, all you Facebook and YouTube users out there. Welcome back to Cooking and Canning with Michael. Last week it was a pretty big hit. I showed you those biscuits that I made, but I didn't show you how I made them using Brenda Gantt's method. So today I'm going to take some time and I'm going to make some more biscuits, and I'm going to show you all how exactly that I did it. She's the master, of course, but I do a pretty good attempt at it. So I'm going to show you all how I do that, and I'm going to go ahead and preheat my oven to 500 degrees. That's right, folks, 500 degrees. When you're cooking biscuits, you want them to cook up really fast, and if you go with lower temperatures, they're going to get hard, crusty, and dry. Whereas if you use a high temperature, they're going to bake, they're going to rise, and they are going to be light and fluffy. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the ingredients here, and I've got it set up so I hopefully can aim my camera down so that you all can see exactly what I am doing in the bowl. So let's get started. All right, sorry for the appearance of my hair. As some of you know, I was in a car accident earlier this week, and these are my days off, and I just didn't feel care of things, so oh well. Like I said, folks, this is real. This is my real kitchen. This is the real me. Alrighty, let's get started. Alrighty, folks, so for this recipe, we're going to need a really large bowl, which I've got over there. We're going to need self-rising flour, Crisco, and buttermilk. I am using whole buttermilk. This just says it's regular milk, but I've repurposed the jug, and I've made my own buttermilk at home, and you can look that up on the internet how to do that. But it's basically you fill a quart jar up with about a third of buttermilk that you buy originally from the store. Fill the rest of it up with whatever percent milk you want, whole, 2%, 1%. I don't know if I would try fat-free, but you could give it a try. I did 4 quarts, which gave me roughly a gallon. It lasts forever in the fridge, and so we're going to use that. So we're going to get to mixing here in just a bit. Okay, y'all, so you're not going to see much of me in this video, because I want you all to see the bowl. So I've got right here some self-rising flour. Brenda Gantt does not measure. She just puts an amount in the bowl. And when we're done, you can reuse the flour that's left over in the bowl, according to her method. So what I'm going to do is use the back of my hand. I'm going to try to build up these sides. And you're working with flour, people. You're going to get it everywhere. It's going to go everywhere. So what I'm doing is trying to build me, as she calls it, a little bird's nest. In my case, since it's such a big bowl, it's a big bird's nest. And some people might call it a well. And what we are going to do, I'm going to get a spoon. Actually, let me grease my pan first. I gotta wash my pan out, so I'll be right back. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and grease my cast iron skillet very generously, both the bottom and the sides. There we go. So that's ready to go. I'm gonna set this aside. I'm going to get me a spoon. Whoop, there's some shortening there. I'm going to measure out about, let me get my flour back. I'm going to measure out about 2 large eggs worth of shortening. You can use Crisco oil or canola oil if you prefer. But That's up to you. I've tried both ways, and I think the Crisco method works better for me. All right, so I'm going to put this back, put it back where it belongs. And I'm going to wipe my hands. And now, the star ingredient, buttermilk. Always shake your buttermilk, make sure it gets good, and as it sits in the fridge, buttermilk will separate. So you always want to shake it and make sure. So now I'm just going to fill this well up, almost to the top, with buttermilk. About right to there. Alrighty. Now the fun part begins. The world's first mixer, the hand. So we're going to get in here, and what we're going to do first is start mixing that shortening up. Get it all squeezed and mixed into the buttermilk. Okay, and then we're going to just start swirling it, and it'll pull in flour as we go. You can see it right there pulling the flour in from the sides. And we're just going to pull in the flour. I keep my finger like this, so if need to, I can go around the edges and pull a little more flour in as needed. And you just keep squishing it, folks. Working that shortening into the mix. I'll admit this took some practice. Whoop. Miss Brenda Gantt is so perfect at it. I haven't reached that ability yet, but now that it's starting to come together, I'm going to make a little bit of a dough. I'm going to start going left to right with it. She can whip this out in, I think, under 3 minutes. I don't think I'm to that point yet. Bring in a little more flour. Keep going left to right, left to right. There we go. For some reason it stopped recording. It's okay, I stopped moving. A little more flour in here. There we go. You can see it's starting to separate from the other flour. think I'm going to need just a little bit more flour here. Didn't get quite enough in my bowl. Still learning. We're about there. Just a little more to get it a little less sticky. Now that seems about right. See how it is? See how it's come together? Okay. I'm going to get me a little flour to spread on my cutting board here. Now, if you don't have any self-rising flour, you can make your own at home. For every cup of flour, you want to go ahead and add 1½ teaspoons of baking powder and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. All right, so there's my biscuit dough. Now to clean your fingers off, use the old pinch and squeeze method. All right, I'm going to rinse my hands. Now you can, if you prefer, like you've seen me in other videos, you could wear a glove while you're doing this. I just didn't do one today. I'm going to sprinkle a little flour on top. Get a little flour on my hands. Whoop. Looks like I'm failing miserably, folks. Put it on video and it's guaranteed something will happen.
I'm reminding you, take my gabapentin.
It's my medicine time, of course, when my hands are the messiest. Now, she doesn't work her dough like this.
I'm reminding you, take my gabapentin.
And now we're going to pat them down. She is a pat and cut person instead of a roller. And I think I prefer it that way as well. I'm going to get rid of this bowl and bring this over so you can see it. Bring the camera over so you can see it a little better. Let's bring this over here. There we go. I'm going to bring my pan over here. Brenda Gantt uses an old coffee tin or coffee can. You know what I mean. Like one of these cans, but with the end cut off, and she has a shorter can, I believe. But I happen to have a biscuit cutter. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my biscuits straight down. Try not to twist. Well, that didn't work. Give me just a moment. Let me rinse my hands again. And I'll be right back when I get this dough pliable. All right, we're going to try this again. There we go. Try to squeeze one more on the edge. There we go. And one in the middle. There we go. We'll wait for the oven to come up to temp. And these bake, according to her, until they're done, until they're light golden brown. I would say maybe 12 to 15 minutes max. My remote got a little dirty. I'll try to clean that out. Clean it up. Let's see, I don't have anything else I could bake. Yeah, I do. Let's use a baking sheet. I'm going to grab a baking sheet here. And I'm just going to spray it. And I'm going to continue cutting. And we're going to gather it, try to reform it, and pat it down again. Let it go. I just heard the oven go off. Not really enough there to make another biscuit. So we ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 biscuits. So we're going to go ahead and put these in the oven. I would like to check the temperature first. Make sure I'm at 500 degrees. Oh, come on, stop it. Right at about 500. So in here they go. There's that one. And that one. Alexa, set a biscuit timer for 12 minutes.
Biscuit timer, 12 minutes, starting now.
Alrighty, I'm going to go ahead and pause, do some cleanup, and we'll be back when they're done. Okay, y'all, so the biscuits are done. Look at these biscuits. Look at those. I'm going to go ahead and brush them with a little butter. Then I'll pull one out and I'll show you how thick they are. Okay. We're going to try to get one of these suckers out of here. Ouch. Look at that, folks. Look how thick and flaky. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it open. Woo, that's hot. I'm going to put a piece of butter on here. Put the top back on. Let that rest a bit. Let's have a taste, shall we? Look at the size of the biscuit. Oh. Just melt in your mouth. Just melt in your mouth. They're so tender. I don't care where you're from, folks. That's good eating. Now I'll take some of these and put them in a bag and freeze them once they've cooled down. Freeze them for future use. Just pop them in the microwave for a few seconds and they're warm and ready to go. But we could use one recipe that my mother used to make quite a bit. I don't know, we called it in the family biscuits with chocolate gravy. It was really more like chocolate syrup. But we may have that for dinner tonight. just since we've got all these biscuits. Anyway, I wanted to show you all the process. You've seen it now. You've seen my humble attempt at it, at least. Usually it goes more perfect than that. I'm sorry it went kind of wacko, but hey, that's life, and we all have to get used to deal with what life gives us and improvise, which is what I did. So you all have a good evening. Bon appetit. Remember that life is beautiful, and even when you're in a car accident and your vehicle's gone. So have a good evening, and